That was one of the most pathetic attempts at a task I think I've ever seen in my life. Big Brother UK 2025, episode 22 and 23. Let's begin with Elsa's rule break yesterday, when Big Brother gathered all the housemates around the sofa and he was telling them about the conversation between Elsa, Caroline and Nancy. Big Brother told them that Caroline said Richard had been eating a lot in the house and he'd put on weight, and then Elsa says that she felt bad for him and that's why she didn't nominate him. Now, while this was going on, Caroline was hiding. What is it we're hiding? Remember when she said that thing to Zila? And she just sits like and she covers her face. Like, just fucking sit there and listen to it. Like, covering your face, covering your head, it's not going to change the outcome. So Big Brother told Elsa that she'd be going to jail, and she stood up and says, God forbid a girl didn't want to vote for somebody for feeling left out. And it's clear that she just wasn't getting the message. So after she got put to jail, Caroline spoke to Richard and said, I wasn't only saying that about you, I said that everybody in the house had put on weight. And to be fair to her, she had said that before, because Frida says that they were all, like, they weren't eating right or something, and Caroline says, no, we've all put on weight. Richard was not too happy about this, even though he was making out to Caroline as if, oh, it's not a big deal. But then he's going round calling Caroline a liar and all the rest of it. Caroline was in the diary room saying that Shola is now no longer the queen of the house, and she thinks that Emily might take over because she's really confident. And she says Richard is scared to do anything, he's probably a bastard outside the house, and Zila's too nice. She says he never does anything wrong, he's far too nice. Now, they might have edited it out, right, but you would think that if she was going to say somebody was too nice, it would be Cameron. Elsa was in the jail complaining as if she has not done anything wrong whatsoever. And okay, like, you can sit in the jail and you can shout, let me out, or like whatever else, right? That's fine. But the way she was going on about it is as if she genuinely didn't think that she'd done anything wrong. Now, Big Brother Australia would never put up with that fucking audacity. They should have took her eyeballs off her as well. Jenny and Nancy, who are not friends, who literally had a conversation the night before, saying we're not friends and we wouldn't be friends outside, are all of a sudden in the snug talking. Now, maybe they're trying to mix things up a bit, maybe they're trying something new, maybe the two of them just ended up in there together, who knows. But they ended up planning a fake fight. They were all sitting having their roast dinner and Jenny says that the cauliflower cheese was rotten, and then they started this fake fight. Now, personally, I didn't find that funny, right? But like Sam, he was living life, and most of them knew, like, this is not right, like, where is this came from? Why would you fight over cauliflower cheese? Get a grip. But if that was me, maybe I would have laughed at the time, right? Maybe I just didn't find it funny because I knew it was all set up and everything. You never know. But the way Faye Shola was like, oh, I just don't find things like that funny. Okay. So what? Like, nobody is allowed to fucking breathe in that house half the time. And then the way Elsa was reacting, and I know she's young, and I know people will say, oh, she's been in like whatever sort of relationship, or like her past, or whatever, right? But just the way she was reacting, I was like, fuck off. I'm sorry. But she's like, oh, I was triggered and all the rest of it. I thought there was going to be a physical fight. Okay, fine. But has she never watched any Big Brothers in the past? Usually there is actual fights in the house, but this year, nobody's allowed to fucking say booty a goose. And at least when Jenny and Nancy went to her and they says, oh, we're sorry about that, she says, oh, it's not your fault, it's me, like, it's my triggers, like, you've not done anything. But then when they said to Faye Shola, she was like, oh no, that's fine, it's fine, and just made it as if everything was alright, even though she was just bitching about them to Zila. Earlier, Frida had been doing Elsa's makeup and she asked for soft glam, and what she got wasn't really soft glam, right? But then I feel as if they were all making it out to be much more extreme than it was, because Caroline was saying, oh, she wasn't upset, her eyelashes were just too heavy. And then when Jenny and Nancy went in to speak to her, they says, oh, I think that you were really only upset because you're in makeup. Like, I mean, your eyebrows are sisters and not twins. Like, my eyebrows have never been twins because I've got one lower than the other. But they were making out like they were trying to blame Frida for something that wasn't even her fault. And Elsa was just like, no, it's fine, I'm just having fun, I'm just going to put on a dress, like, it's not a big deal. Like, why are they blaming the makeup on everything? Earlier, Frida had been talking about it one time that she was arrested and it was the wrong person and they treated her like crap, and then she sued them and she got a payout, and I was like, yes, Frida. See the amount of times things like this happen to people that I know, and I say, sue them. And they go, no, there's no point. Let me tell you something. See if there's a situation to sue somebody, sue them. At the end of the show, they were all hiding snacks, and Zila was the only one with a brain and says, oh, thank God we don't have cameras watching us 24/7. Now, they know fine fucking well that they're not allowed to hide the snacks. In my opinion, I think they should be allowed to keep the snacks, and then if they get the luxury shopping budget, they can add it on. But then if they get the basic shopping budget, it all gets took off them. But Big Brother is too lenient. He should have says you've got 10 minutes to gather the snacks together, and for every snack that you've had, you're going to get an eyeball took off you if you don't get them back into the storeroom right now. It was time for the shopping task, which I actually think was a good task. It would have only took them 2 hours if they could follow the most basic fucking instructions. So they had the pilot and co-pilot that was Cameron and Faye Shola. The cabin crew was Sam and Jenny. And then the rest of them were split into tourists, backpackers, stag do, first class and single dad. Oh, and business people. Now, you can make a mistake and maybe leave your luggage unattended for a wee minute, but it's such a basic instruction to only eat the food that's allocated to you. But then Cameron decided to eat fries belonging to the passengers, right? And then when Jenny says to him about it, he says, why are you pointing it out? I'm sorry, right, I love Cameron, but it doesn't need to be pointed out. Big Brother can see everything. Then Jenny had the cheek to go into the diary room and say, oh, Cameron was eating the passengers' food, when her and Sam was eating the passengers' food as well. So the flight got extended to like 4-something hours, and Big Brother says, you have to stay in your seats while the seatbelt sign is on. And Nancy and Marcus got up. Right now, whether that was a mistake or not, we don't know, but it got extended once again. Caroline was just being so fucking annoying, and I know they were meant to be on a stag do, but she just takes things too far. Sam and Jenny were told that there was chocolates for the passengers and the crew hadn't to have any, and they ate some and gave Faye Shola some, but I don't even know if Faye Shola knew that they were only for the passengers. So after they were all sitting there moaning, it's too hot, it smells bad, this is too hard, oh my god, let's walk out. And then they ended up breaking the rules again and getting the flight extended even further. And then Marcus was complaining, oh, it's too difficult. How can you be expected to sit there for nearly 5 hours? You're halfway to like wherever it was he said. Fucking try flying to Vegas, try flying to Japan, try flying to fucking Australia. What hope do you have in the world when you can't even fucking sit for 5 hours? Now, I'm not saying it was comfortable, I'm not saying it was piss easy, but the way they were acting, I was like, for fuck's sake, man. Just as well they're not on any other Big Brother in the world, because they actually have to do shit on that. Oh, it's like, fucking, it's just fucking pathetic. So they all walked out because it was too hard, and I was like, do you know what, I hope their basic rations are fucking basic as fuck. But I know that they're not, because we've seen the basic rations for last year, and they actually had half decent food. During the flight, Caroline was carrying on and she threw some drink at Tate, which was unnecessary to be honest, but some of it went on to Frida. And then Zila says to Caroline, oh, like, you should watch because like she doesn't drink alcohol or whatever. And then Caroline was saying, oh, like, I had to eat halal meat. And he says it's not the same. And even though it's not the same, right, I do agree, and nobody forced her to eat that meat, but there is people who don't like eating halal meat, right? But as I says, nobody forced her to do it, but like, you don't know if that's the only option that they're getting in the house now. So Caroline said, you're kind of making an issue out of something that's not even an issue. And then Zila says, oh, she was fine with it. But I mean, it's different if she'd come into the house and says, oh, I don't drink alcohol, so none of yous can drink. But I think she's been very lenient. I'm sorry, but if you chose to come into an environment where people drink and you don't drink, and then you had to tell other people that they can't drink, that's a you problem. Now, Frida hasn't even done that. Zila has just made a fucking mountain out of a molehill as usual. So Caroline asked Frida if everything was alright, and then she was in the diary room, so no, Caroline came to me and like, I'm really open-minded and all that. And then I think Frida thought that Caroline thought it was an issue and it was Zila. The last 2 episodes I enjoyed, but everybody's so fucking sensitive, man, and it's doing my nothing. It's got to the point now, it's just way too much. But when they came back out for the task, all their snacks had been took away. So we'll see them moaning for the rest of the week about how starving they are when they couldn't even fucking put effort into a basic ass task. Let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.